When and what first piqued your interest in Ninja Warrior when you heard about it?
I probably always had an interest in Ninja Warrior when I was younger. I used to watch the show all the time and be like, I could do that, that's super easy. Then I started trying some of the stuff as I got older, and I realized it's not as easy, and I think that made me more interested in it, the fact that it was actually quite difficult.
So why'd you want to compete in American Ninja Warrior?
I always wanted to compete just to kind of show that I could do the obstacles. And when the opportunity came around, I really just jumped on it.
What did you do in preparation to train for American Ninja Warrior 3?
American Ninja Warrior 3. Before American Ninja Warrior 3, I did a really extensive year of training because I actually was on American Ninja Warrior 2 and I fell on the salmon ladder. When I fell on the salmon ladder, I was kind of really disappointed in myself and just I felt like I should have been able to get the salmon ladder. So when I couldn't get the salmon ladder, I kind of went into like a year of just solitude and training. Well, maybe not solitude because I traveled all over the country hitting up different parkour gyms, different Ninja Warrior gyms, trying to figure out what was the best way to train each obstacle. And pretty much that year just training on my own helped increase my strength a lot.
What are you currently working on most in preparation for American Ninja Warrior?
I am currently working on everything. Before you got here today, I did, I forget what the course I had set up. Oh, it was quadriceps to rope swing to spider jump to balance tank to balance bridge to trampoline jump to laches all the way through. Our version of the bridge of blades, sprints, then right into the salmon ladder, into a rope climb, into the globe grasp, into the ropes, into the ultimate cliffhanger, and then into the roulette cylinder. And I did that probably like 4 or 5 times. Then I did sets of 4 rope climbs. Like I would climb up and down the rope 4 times without stopping. Then I would do the salmon ladder all the way through. Then I would do the rope again, then the salmon ladder again. And then I finally finished with a course that I set up, like I designated the course just to make me winded. I had to sprint through every single obstacle, and there was just no stoppage, and there was just constant sprinting, so like I wouldn't be winded when I got on the course.
Picture yourself at the starting line of American Ninja Warrior 3, ready to redeem yourself. What did it feel like?
This is actually a really funny story, because at American Ninja Warrior 3, I was not ready for my first run at all. I thought that I had like 5 more people to go before I was going to run. So I was actually laying down in the shade somewhere. I didn't have my right shoes on. And they were like, hey, guess what, Chris? You're next. I'm like, what? So I was literally just like sprinting to the start line, like hopping on one foot, tying my shoes, getting my shoes on. And like I get to the start line and I'm like, oh, wait, it's my turn. All right, let's do it.
Obstacle you think you were the most worried about?
For which season?
For each season.
Okay. ANW 2. ANW 2, I was definitely most afraid of the Bridge of Blades. I had never been on anything like that before, and it was my first year out there, so I was nervous to begin with. And just seeing that, I was just like, I don't know what to do. It's like you hit it, and even guys that have done this a ton of times are like hitting it and falling. So I don't really know what to do. So like I'm like sitting there like trying to practice like stepping on like things that are like unstable, like trying to get ready for it, and it was just completely nerve-wracking.
So how'd you end up getting past it?
I hit it once, and then I dove for the other platform. If you watch my run for ANW 2, it was literally me just kind of chucking my body through each obstacle. I made it through the quad steps clean. I get to the rope swing. I fall short on the rope swing, but I was able to chuck my chest over the little mat thing. I hit once on the Bridge of Blades and just dove for the platform. And then, yeah, it was just a lot of heaving my body to where it needed to be because I just didn't want to fall.
So what about for American Ninja Warrior 3, which obstacle?
American Ninja Warrior 3, I was definitely afraid of the salmon ladder because I underestimated it in American Ninja Warrior 2. So I was afraid of it before I even knew what the course was. I spent the entire year just training the salmon ladder over and over and over again because I did not want to fall on the same obstacle. So going into ANW3, I was definitely afraid of the salmon ladder.
And what about for American Ninja Warrior 4?
American Ninja Warrior 4, I actually felt relatively comfortable with most of the obstacles. There was one jump, there was a trampoline jump that was taking out almost everybody that I trained with that made me really nervous. The bar was really far away. And I remember even like rolling out of the cargo net and looking up at that jump. It was like, oh my god, they put it so high. Damn you, G4.
Alright, so after competing in American Ninja Warrior 3, who do you think was the best competitor?
Oh. I think it's hard to pick the best competitor because everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. So certain people are going to be better at certain obstacles than other people. Like a lot of the parkour guys are really good at adapting and moving on their feet, so you can throw pretty much anything at them where they're utilizing like their feet and hand-eye coordination and they're going to get past it. But some of them might suffer a little bit on the upper body strength because they don't train as much grip strength. Whereas an athlete like David Campbell, who's got crazy grip strength, he's not going to fall off of anything that he's gripping on.
Are you still in touch with any of the competitors from American Ninja Warrior?
I still talk to all the guys from American Ninja Warrior. It's really cool because we have kind of like a really close-knit community, and we just love seeing each other like any chance we get. We actually had an event here in January where I flew a bunch of guys from like the boot camp out to this gym to run a boot camp for everybody in the area.
So what are some tips and tricks to doing well in American Ninja Warrior?
Some really good tips and tricks is obsess. The more you want it and the harder you drive yourself, the better chance you have of succeeding. You can't just go out and say like, oh, I did like a couple of these today and it's going to be okay. You have to really think that everybody else is pushing themselves as hard as they possibly can. So like, because you climbed the 90-foot rope one time and it was good, doesn't mean anything. You have to have that down perfectly. You can't just do the salmon ladder once and be like, okay, I got it for the show. You have to do it over and over and over again until it's drilled into your mind to the point where it's muscle memory and it's just not. Because if you do it once, you don't have a feel for it. You really have to like overkill it to get through.
So what about for like each individual obstacle? Do you have any tricks for like the 6 double steps, salmon ladder, cliffhanger, any of the obstacles? Like, what advice would you give?
Quad steps, if you have a lot of explosive power in your legs, I would try to plant firmly and like kick to the next one as hard as you can and try to kick through it almost. So try to kick through each one so you get firm plants. Salmon ladder, just work on explosive upper body power, really rock with it, try to mimic other people's techniques. If you watch the technique over and over again from the experts doing it, you'll really see how it's done, and if you can mimic that, you're going to be fine on the salmon ladder. Cliffhanger stuff, you got to build up the tendon strength.
What is the one thing you would have done differently to get you farther?
I hate to say it, but I really think when I went to grab the roulette cylinder right before, I sprayed my hands with sticky spray. And I didn't realize that the sticky spray takes a little bit to dry. So as soon as I got on to the roulette cylinder, it was 1, 2, and I just slid right down. I feel like if I had just left the sticky spray behind and tried the chalk, I would have had a better chance at it. But, I mean, the past is the past, and I didn't make it through because I wasn't ready to. I think this year is going to be a lot different though because I have a roulette cylinder now and I've been training it relentlessly.
So who's your favorite Japanese Ninja Warrior athlete?
I think my favorite Ninja Warrior athlete, I I feel like my favorite has to be two people. I love Nagano for his persistence and how humble he is. If you ever notice when he runs the course and he has time left over, he doesn't sprint to the finish. There's no big celebration. He just walks, taps the button, thanks everybody, and goes about his way. Just that humbleness kind of shows how great he really is as a person. Then there's Yuji, who's rising, and I just think that it's amazing what he's done, how he was able to beat the course not once, but twice, and the manner in which he beat it was completely amazing. I know there was a lot of skepticism about his rope climb because he was wearing boots and people weren't as happy about it, and then he came back the next year, wore normal shoes, and destroyed the rope climb. It was just unreal to me. He was just like, okay, I'm going to take that criticism and throw it right back.
It's funny though, because me and my dad also noticed that occasionally you'll see Makoto Nagano on the side and is always cheering on his competitors, and along with Toshiro Takeda, and they're always giving him advice. He gave comedian wacky advice on the salmon ladder. So the same things kind of happen in American Ninja Warrior?
Oh, definitely. I just remember just sitting there and just talking about the obstacles with all the competitors. We'll just be like pointing stuff out, like, well, what do you think about this? Well, this looks kind of silly. Why'd they make us do this? And trying to figure out the best way to go through things.
Who do you think here would be good enough to compete or even conquer Ninja Warrior? Trains at the Warrior Lab.
I would have to say, I want to say Dan Gazinski. He's pretty much completely unknown player in the game. He's never gotten any airtime, but he's been the fastest to the warped wall almost every single year, and almost every year he gets knocked out on the warped wall. I think this year is going to be a really good year for him because as long as that wall doesn't get in his way, he has the entire rest of the course. There's pretty much nothing else stopping him. So I would definitely give him the go ahead on getting through that. No.
So what are kind of the steps to competing in American Ninja Warrior and Ninja Warrior?
The steps are pretty easy. The first thing you're going to do is make a video that showcases your strengths and your personality. I think they like personality a lot just because it is like a production show and they do want characters in the show. But first step, make a video, make it awesome, send it in. When they get the video, they'll judge, tell you if it's good enough or not, and if you get accepted, they'll like send you an email confirmation or give you a call and be like, oh, congratulations, you're accepted on the show. And from there, you have to pay your way to wherever the preliminary tryouts are. In the past, it was in Venice Beach. This year, it was in Miami for us. So we had to fly down to Miami. Then you run the qualifying course. If you do well in that, you run again in the semifinals with 30 other competitors, and then it narrows it down to 15. And then after that portion, then they start paying for everything. So you no longer need to fly yourself. So that's nice.
So how would someone like me, what do you recommend they do to prepare themselves?
I would recommend training hard, but training hard just to better yourself. I wouldn't focus so much on like overtraining to the point where it's like not fun anymore. I would make sure that you have fun while doing it, because I think that's the most important part. Because like even though like I'm training every day relentlessly, I'm still having fun while I'm doing it. If you ask anybody at the gym, when I'm here, I'm laughing, I'm smiling, it's fun. I mess up, I'm like whatever, because it's something that I love doing. Just make sure you love doing it and keep training hard.
So what types of athletes and athletic training do you think is most useful and advantageous in Ninja Warrior?
I feel like you can't pick a specific type of training that's going to be great for the show because you really need to be well-rounded in everything, because they have all kinds of obstacles. There's balance obstacles, there's upper body strength, there's explosive power upper body strength, there's upper body endurance, there's leg power, there's leg endurance, there's lung capacity. Like they factor in everything. You have to be well-rounded and you have to be mentally focused too. I think that's a lot of that's a major aspect that a lot of people overlook is the mental aspect. Because when you're getting there and you have one shot to run this course perfectly, your mind is plays a huge factor.
How much longer do you intend to compete in American Ninja Warrior?
I plan to compete in American Ninja Warrior for as long as I possibly can. I love the show, I love the people, and even if I'm 70 years old and I can't get past the quad steps, I'm still going to go just for the experience.